It's great to see you. If you feel so inspired, no one will say bad things about you and your state of dress if you want to turn on your webcam, because that lets us all see other people, because this is a community of biohackers and people who are improving themselves. And it's just cool to know that, well, you're not alone in this world that appears to be crazy. I've, over the last couple of months, been really seeing two completely different realities. The old story that you've heard me say on the podcast, you're driving down the street and someone cuts right in front of you. And you're like, screw you, you're cutting in front of me because you think you're more important than me. And then the other reality is, oh, they're on their way to the hospital to see their dying grandma. Right? But you just don't know. But they're completely no overlap in the Venn diagram. And I'm seeing that reality itself has that. I go to Instagram and I see one thing. I go to Telegram, where I've been posting a lot of other stuff, and you see an entirely different side of things. And not everything on Telegram is true. Not everything on Instagram is true, but at least it's uncensored on Telegram. So I'm seeing the world's like that. And if you normally watch the news and you normally use Facebook and Instagram, you can start to feel lonely. If like, oh, I actually really did want to be healthy. I wanted to perform better and all. It's just a little bit less insipid. So it's helpful to see other people who care about the stuff you care about. That's why we're all here. That's why I do the Upgrade Collective. And that's why we put together some crazy stuff in the box for you. So you ready to get into it? Let's get into what is in your box. I'm going to do the box packing for you. The first thing is, you've heard me talk about how a lot of ancient, we'll call it just across Asia, practices have now been validated with some of the biohacking tech and just some of the ability to measure. And one of the things is called cupping. And you might have seen some pictures of me where I look like I've been attacked by an octopus because I have these weird marks on my back. So I got you guys it's a custom color just for the Dave Asprey box, a set of cups. Now, what these do is from a company called GameOn. It's worth $30 retail, and GameOn makes a whole array of even professional grade cupping things. So this is kind of an entry level thing. And it can help you heal injuries because it restores blood flow to a treatment area. And what you do is you take the cup and you stick it on wherever you have an injury. And do you hear that sound? It's also good in 7th grade for making farting sounds if you want. But there we go. And you stick it on and it draws blood into that area, which brings in nutrients and it carries away lymphatic waste. About 5 minutes of cupping can be as effective as a long massage technique. So you can take it and stick it on your upper back or your scapula where you're sore. Like I just stuck it to my upper back right now. And then it's actually treating that area. There's a lot of, the traditional way of doing this was they'd pour alcohol in, light it on fire and stick it on you. And then the alcohol would burn away the oxygen. It would suck your skin up into it, but a little bit of fire risk there. And I wanted ones that were made of no BPA, no phthalates, no PVC, and no latex. So these are food grade silicone. So they're highly safe. These guys are just for blood flow. And these guys have what's called a joystick on the top. So the GameOn joystick ones, you stick it on. I think I can do the palm of my hand. There we go. And then you can manipulate it, which stretches the fascia, and you get 15% off additional kits. It really, really makes a difference. And what I've been doing is I've been mostly using them for my man boobs. They work very, very well for that as well. Okay, don't do that. They would probably get bigger. But they actually use very large cups for breast enhancement, not from GameOn. But if you go to certain treatment things, they use a vacuum pump, and it is a way to bring blood flow to any part of the body. I just don't think these are the right size. I only saw half of you laugh at that entirely inappropriate joke. I'm offended. Next up, because I'm feeling so much anxiety, let's talk about chilling out a little bit. What do you think? This is a product called Trocom from Troscriptions. You've probably seen me in a few Instagram posts look like I was kissing a Smurf, where I have like a bright blue tongue, right? That's from methylene blue, something that I've written about for many years. And that's their most famous product. And the team at Troscriptions is led by Dr. Ted Achacoso, who's been on the show. He's one of the smartest people on the planet, according to some survey of smart people on the planet. And what they're using is pharmaceutical grade calming ingredients, including CBD, CBG, kava, and GABA. But it's a really cool delivery system because you put it, so I can open this up, I'll show it to you. Well, I thought I could open it up. I cut only half the tape on it. See, that's the problem. You guys just have a pocket knife that you can just open things up with, right? There we go. Little tray slides out. And just little, I think the camera can get that. What you do is you open these up and you take a quarter of one. You stick it up in your lip right here. And then it slowly dissolves in, and letting it get in through the membranes in your mouth changes how it works entirely. And what you find with this is improvements in sleep. So I use this before I go to sleep, and you get just a lot better sleep. You sleep more deeply, and it doesn't give you a blue tongue. I've also used the blue ones from Trocom, but you wake up and your tongue is still blue, and it looks kind of funny in your conference call in the morning. These ones are going to dye your tongue orange, but it's gone by the morning, which is fine. The ingredient that I think is most impressive on here is something called nicotinyl GABA. Now, you guys may have heard of GABA. GABA is a neurotransmitter and an amino acid, but it's the calming neurotransmitter. It doesn't cross into the brain very, very well. So what scientists have done is they've figured out they can attach other molecules onto it. Phenyl GABA is a product that Bulletproof used to sell in the very early days, but it became a gray zone. So nicotinyl GABA, you take a nicotinyl molecule, you stick it onto the GABA, and now the brain loves it, and it can enter the brain. So this is a really cool way to get very, very powerful relaxation and sleep. So if you're a hard sleeper, like you have a hard time getting to sleep, or you're just tweaky during the day, this TroCalm stuff, it's a really solid addition, and it's something I wanted you to get to experience. You don't even need to use it every day unless that's what works for you. But on a day when you're like really, really tweaking, or on that night when nothing will work, this stuff, it's very, very potent, and I think you're going to enjoy it. This is worth about $30 retail. And each batch is made and tested separately, supervised by a pharmacist who spent 30 years making these things. So it's compounded for you. And of course, you get 10% off everything with the code that's in here that they make. And this form factor is called a troche. And it's you put it under the tongue, inside here. You don't just swallow it like a pill. But I'm telling you, this is definitely a good kick in the pants for relaxation. I really appreciate how it's put together. So I test a lot of supplements. The nicotinyl GABA plus the other ingredients, very solid. Next up, $33 retail. Something I talked about in Fast This Way. And as you remember, Fast This Way is my book on fasting. And what's going on there is mitophagy. Mitophagy is something that is where your mitochondria find the weak mitochondria and just get rid of them entirely. They wipe them out and replace them with younger, stronger ones. This is a good deal. So how am I going to turn on mitophagy for you for $33 value in here? Well, there's a postbiotic that's very rare. You can get small amounts in pomegranates and berries. And if you have the right gut bacteria, you can synthesize it. So you eat a pomegranate. If you have the right gut bacteria, you can transform that into a compound called urolithin A. No one on earth could sell you urolithin A until very recently. And there's a company called Timeline Nutrition, who's been on the podcast, who makes something called Mitopure that contains urolithin, which turns on mitophagy. So this is a major anti-aging thing you can do. They make powder packets that you guys may have had if you're an old subscriber to the box, or a longtime subscriber, but I prefer the soft gels. So I wanted you guys to get the soft gels. And here you go. They got the soft gels. There's something else going on here. You see the form factor here with the soft gels? This is a good thing. I am tired of having some of the, in fact, I'm about to say no to an advertiser on the show because they have a bottle that's this big and it's really good stuff in a box that's this big to show you how important it is. We cannot afford to continue sending huge amounts of dead trees to tell you how important a little bottle of stuff that's actually important all by itself is. So I'm doing my best to push back against that. So I think this idea of putting it in a little envelope for you that is better sealed than a bottle anyway is really cool. So there you go. You've got your Mitopure, which is going to help you with mitophagy. And you can just take these capsules instead of mixing raspberry flavored stuff in your coffee. And they'll give you a code on 10% off everything. If you're in a long-term anti-aging program, or you just want to run through a series where you're doing a longer, like a 48-hour plus fast, and you're taking these capsules to turn up your mitophagy, I think there's really, really good efficacy for it. It's on my long-term anti-aging compounds list, stuff that I'm going to take forever. I'm looking at comments here. Melissa and Dawn are saying they really, really like Timeline. And Jesse says, super cool. All right. Can you drink the powder and still take these things? Yes, you can. And can you drink the powder stuff during a fast? You can. Oh, best time of day for Timeline. I didn't ask him that in the interview either. When would I want to take Timeline? I like the idea of taking Timeline certainly during a longer fast, and I'd want to take it probably before bed or when I first woke up, but not necessarily with a meal. So you get a boost of this mitophagy when you're already more likely to be doing it. And there's some other questions on here. Can you stack it with other compounds that induce mitophagy? Yes, you can, and it works even better. So I'm pretty excited about getting you guys the capsules. I was really happy about that. I pushed into the capsules. And of course, next up, you get the beautiful Dave Asprey booklet that describes everything. And when you open it up, save this because there's codes for saving on everything that I'm talking about here. So the idea is that, yes, you got the box. Yes, the box is worth way more than you paid for it. But if you like the stuff in the box, you get them for less than it would have cost you to just go out and buy them in the first place. So I'm really looking to deliver meaningful value to you guys. So like, oh, this was just worth it. Plus, you know, it was curated. Next up, you guys like wine, don't you? Well, I decided that the best thing I do is get you the largest wine cork ever. Because if you have a big wine cork, you could drink bigger bottles of wine. I mean, is this how it works? Okay. The only problem is this is a little bit defective because you can see through it. So what could this possibly be? It's called the Bellina Cork Body Wheel. I mentioned sustainability before. Part of my job as a regenerative farmer and someone who's looking to upgrade humanity in general, say, you know what, guys, maybe we could do less plasticky crap. And it's going to take a generation to get off our addiction to plastic. But this is a body wheel. And typically you'll find plastic ones that are made. This is sustainable cork. You could actually compost this when you're done with it. It's designed by an Australian physiotherapist who is probably in jail. I mean, at home, because in Australia, being in jail and being at home are the same damn thing. And Australia is really having a lot of oppressive practices right now. Follow me on Instagram if you've seen the most recent posts. I'm doing a lot of posting. Like that is an example of the third worst government. Germany's worst, maybe Austria, Germany, Australia, and then Canada in terms of most oppressive. That's terrible. But back to Australian physiotherapist, the Bellina Cork Body Wheel. It's $36 value. What you do with this is you put it along your back. It has a ridge in the middle so you don't put pressure right on your spine. You put it up here, not where I left that that thing. Oh, good, it already fell off. I had a silicone cup still on my back. And what you do is you put it either against a chair like this, or ideally on the floor. And by returning the curve to your spine, you're getting rid of that thing called kyphosis, which all of us have from looking at our phones where our backs hunch over. So it's a way to open things up there. This is extra firm. It's a 6-inch wheel. You can do like trigger point work, and it even works for tension headaches. It's an extra wide design. Some of them are very narrow. It doesn't smell like anything. You can put it in your bag for travel because it's not, they make a 10-inch one that's much bigger, like you might use in a yoga class. And you get 10% off if you want the bigger one. But I promise you, if you deal with any kind of spinal stuff, when you have a wheel like this, it's different than a roller because it's a bigger diameter and it just feels good. And the groove down the middle means your vertebrae don't hit it. So I really appreciate being able to use it. And actually, I prefer the feel of cork because it's just, it's got a tactile, like it grips, whereas most of the plasticky stuff doesn't grip as well to me. All right. Next up, there's some psychology that's going on here. I posted today about how people who have more worry about the pandemic actually have lower information retention, lower processing speed, and lower markers of cognitive function in general. In other words, fear really is the mind killer. If you're a fan of Dune, this is a quantitative study from a major research institution. This is actually happening. So you watch the news, you get dumb. So what do we do about that? Well, one of the things you do is you don't watch the news and you work on removing worry. One of the things that helps with that is being reconnected with people. That's why I asked you to turn on your web camera today, because this is actually creating a sense of connection and community for you to go, oh, look at all these people who care about stuff that I do. Like this is connectedness. Well, a company that I've liked for a long time is called MyIntent. They started in 2013 as a catalyst for meaningful conversation and just creating positive action. And they make these things. See if the camera will pick this up. They make these things. They're little bracelets. I've featured them in the box before, and they've served at the biohacking conference. And little bracelets or pendants, you can use them as a pendant, have a word on them. So this one is danger, because I choose danger. So this is a bracelet or a necklace that I can wear. And what they're doing with their questionnaire that's here, and this is the MyIntent questionnaire. It comes in a little box. 33 meaningful question cards that help you find what word you'd want to use. So you literally open this thing up. You can run it around with a team, with your family, and it's designed to create connection. So I'm going to just take a random card out of here and ask you guys, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. Random drawing. What can you do that you could not do a year ago? And then you just talk about it. So you literally can sit there over dinner, talk about it with friends, with family. And when you think about that, like, what is the word that matters? Another one, what makes you lose track of time? Right. These are just things to provoke thought. But if you're going to have a conversation with someone, you could all be talking about the latest news, or you could be talking about stuff that matters. I think that the combination of this deck and the ability to find a word for their jewelry, which you can buy for them for Christmas, or your jewelry, which you can just buy because you want to be reminded of who you are and why you're here and all that kind of stuff. I think there's value to doing this. No, I can't tell you that it's the most science-backed, it's going to raise your neurotransmission by this much, but I can tell you your oxytocin will go up if you have the conversation with people based on the deck, and that I would bet on. And of course, they're giving you 40% off site-wide, because hey, why the heck not? All right. Let's see. Austin Powers' middle name is Danger. And Deborah says her real name is Webra Danger. All right, Deborah, you're weird. I like you. Next up, MindBody Matrix Activator and Capsules. $70 retail value. This stuff is super solid. Check that out. What the heck is that? Well, it's made by a friend who's a pharmacist. His name's TK. He goes to Burning Man with me. In fact, he helped to build the Fatmobile, which is my Burning Man art car. What? You guys didn't know I have a Burning Man art car? Well, I did until they canceled Burning Man and they told me I couldn't bring the car. But it's a Prius that's turned into a giant stick of butter with a coffee cup or a teacup. It's actually from Disneyland that spins around on top so you can drive the car while spinning in an amusement thing and brewing coffee off the back of it. And we gave away 5,000 cups of coffee every burn for free with no branding on them, obviously, because you would never advertise at Burning Man. Anyway, TK helped to build that. So he kind of believes in what we're doing here. He's a pharmacist. In fact, one of 4 pharmacists in the world who completed a fellowship in anti-aging and regenerative medicine. And his company, MindBody Matrix, makes things that help you with pain and energy. And he knows a lot about opioid addiction deaths and just opiates in general and pain receptors in general. And he put together these capsules that work because you take 3 drops of the activator. I'm going to actually do that right now. What it turns out is delivery systems matter greatly for getting nutrients and other compounds into the body. So you do that. And then you add a capsule of MindBody Matrix. And you open up the capsule and dump it in. There's the capsule. I don't think I can dump it in with one hand while I'm showing you on the camera. So and then you mix it around. You could just use a spoon, but I'm fancy. And then you drink it. The activator drops make your body absorb the supplement more effectively, and it enhances communication between your cells. There's herbal extracts that calm your pain response, including some that I'm a huge fan of. There's turmeric, there's boswellia, and holy basil. These are really, really potent things that specifically drive down some of the inflammatory cytokines that I'm a huge fan of, things like IL-6, which tends to be elevated in all sorts of pain conditions and all sorts of very popular but unmentionable other conditions. There's also lemon balm and L-theanine. In addition to this, there's some bioenergetic infoceutical treatments that are a part of this. And this is the cutting edge of understanding how to talk to the body, but there's resonant signatures and things that I've seen really do work. And TK is an expert in this, has studied these things. So let's just say there's some other stuff that's in here from an information perspective that I find makes it work really well. You'll try this. You'll understand what I'm talking about when you use it. If you wake up, like, wow, I feel less stiff than I did before. And he's given us all 20% off MindBody products. I just got to say, knowing TK personally for years and just knowing the level of integrity that goes into designing the stuff, I'm a big fan. It also tastes vaguely like herbal tea. Like it's a pretty mellow taste, but boswellia is one of my favorite supplements. Now that was worth a $70 retail value. So you guys have gotten a ton of value in the box so far. And Jace says, any Viagra in it? I think you have to ask TK for his other product that does that. I don't know if you ever commercialized it, but he certainly has some unique capabilities to make stuff that works. So don't know if you ever took that one to market. I hope so. Hey, TK's on her. Hey, TK, take it twice daily or when you need it. It's good for stress and calming the body and mind. All right. I didn't realize TK was going to dial in. I haven't talked to TK in too long. Saw him at my conference last. You guys ready for some golden tickets? What do you think? So that concludes our main box contents. Now, golden tickets, if you're not familiar with them, these are tickets where these are devices that are way too expensive to go into the box, but I want you to know about them, and I want you to save a ton of money if you decide you want to get one. And a few people win. And when you win, you're basically getting very expensive products that you just got. And this is done with a random number generator. We're super clean on that. So it's not like I just send it to TK because he's a friend who's on the line. I would never do that to you guys. And I hold the team accountable for that. So our first one is worth $900. And we're giving away 3 different whole home units. You know that air quality is a major issue for me. Mold is such a problem. It is just a major issue. And when you have mold in your house, your chances of getting every other respiratory ailment go through the roof, even if you're not particularly mold sensitive. Since we have a very popular respiratory ailment going around right now, you might want to have clean air in your house. And you might also just have people coughing around you. Now is not a good time for that. It never really is. So you might want to have good air circulation in your home or where you work. The other thing that no one talks about that's a major contributor to indoor air quality is, in fact, number 2 problem in homes is cooking fumes. If you don't have that hood turned on all the way, just cooking will turn an air quality indicator into the red zone and leave it there. It's the equivalent of smoking a cigarette to breathe in a kitchen where food's cooking without adequate ventilation. And that's why at restaurants they have those giant, big, noisy vent hoods, because otherwise people there get lung diseases. So you might want to have an air filter in your kitchen, if nothing else. There's a company called HypoAir that I've worked with for a while. They're the air quality sponsor of the biohacking conference, and they've been in previous boxes. We had their units spread around the conference to make sure everyone had the cleanest possible air. Notice I did not say to make sure everyone was safe, because I freaking choose danger, okay? you are always going to take risk when you step out of your house or if you stay in your house. So no, it's not anyone's job to keep you safe. What we did is we made the environment super high quality and high performance so your body could do what it was supposed to do. And this isn't a HEPA filter, and it's not just generic air filtration. This is something that actively cleans the air and puts out molecules that sanitize surfaces. The ionic compounds that HypoAir makes kills 99.9% of mold, viruses, bacteria, fungus, and allergens. NASA uses it, hospitals use it, hotels, and at Upgrade Labs, when you walk in the door at all of them. Do you think I'm using one of these? Yes, I am. So HypoAir is awesome. They have units for travel for small rooms and whole room units, and even things that plug into your heating and your air conditioning system. So here's what we're doing. We're giving away 3 whole home units that can do your entire house. Okay, that's a serious, serious thing. And everyone on the call, you ready for this, is eligible for a free air quality consult call. And if you complete the call, you get a coupon for a Germ Defender unit. And any orders for a whole home unit also get a free Air Angel unit. So there's a lot of good stuff in here for you. So what I want you to do is open your booklet that's in there, set up your air quality consult call, and they're going to send you a Germ Defender unit to say thanks for it. So if you just do that, you get it. But you may find it's worth investing in quality air in your home. I will tell you straight up, you take 30 pounds of air and some amount, a pound or two, depending on what you eat, of energy substrate, you combine those to make energy. If the 30 pounds of air is dirty, will you make energy as well? No, you won't. So clean food and clean air go together. And I really, really do think that HypoAir is the way to go. So do that. Make sure you have clean air. And 3 people, $900. Everybody, Germ Defender unit if you just have the call. So I think that was amazing. And if that wasn't enough, what do you think about the even more expensive giveaway? Should we talk about that? I think we should talk about that. What do you think? Let's do it. There are 2 devices available, and this is something that my kids would call the OWI Machine. And I'm just going to kind of show you a little bit here. So this is part of it. What could these be? These could be electrodes, because we're giving away 2 H-Wave units. Now, H-Wave is a very powerful clinical grade device. They start at $4,000 each. This is not the $5 tens little things that go, oh, look, my muscles are getting a little bit of blood flow. I think I can feel a tingle. This is one where you put it on someone and you turn it all the way up and they go, ah, and they scream, which is why my kids call it the OWI Machine. So I'm going to show you what this thing does. It's a multifunctional, multi-waveform electrostimulator, and it turns healing on. This is part of the kinds of tech that you use anytime you have an injury, because it increases blood flow. There's patented signals in it that increase circulation without making your muscles tired, but you can also make your muscles tired, which is particularly cool. Removes inflammation and toxins, and non-invasive, drug-free pain relief. Rebuilds muscle tissues and rehabs injuries faster. All right, so my arm is like reasonably sized here. The New York Times says I'm almost muscular, so I'm just going to go with that. I'm going to stick an electrode on my bicep, and I'm going to stick one. I sure hope I charged this thing. Yep, it's charged. I'm going to stick the other one down here on my almost muscular tricep. Now, I'm going to, I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm going to turn this on. I didn't pick what, I have to pick high intensity, of course. There we go. Now, if I can do this one-handed, I haven't tried this before. Now, see if you can see what my arm does. Can you see the muscle getting bigger as we speak? Why is everyone saying no? Ouch. This is really intense. I can barely straighten my arm right now. Like I'm using all of my effort to do that. And I'm going to come back up. And what's going on is my body says that the muscle is under way more stress than I think it is. So if I had a very heavy dumbbell, it would be like that, but it's not. And there's a lot of blood going into the muscle. So I did that. Normally, if I did that for several minutes, but it's turned all the way up. Most people can't have it turned up like that without training. I'm going to take the electrodes off. I'm actually breathing hard. It'll do that to you. Most people break a sweat within 30 seconds of it. And I swear my arm is bigger. Do I not look jacked? Okay. So Joanne was politely nodding. Everyone else was laughing at me. But, you know, I can tell you, literally, if I'd measured the arm, it'd probably put a ½ inch on just by blood flow in that amount of time. If you're going to do a photo shoot, I highly recommend using the H-Wave, but it doesn't mask pain like a TENS unit. You can use it every day, multiple times per day. And the ridiculous thing is you can put it on your abs and you can watch Netflix and you'll grow abs. My daughter, who's 14, literally, she'll say, "Daddy, can I use it?" And you know, she'll put it on her biceps, and afterwards she's like, "Yeah, I've got guns," and it's pretty amazing what it'll do. So here's someone saying, if you put it on your head, will your brain grow? I don't recommend it. You can, at very low powers with small electrodes, put it on your jaw to relax your jaw and help out your jaw. But I don't believe they support putting it transcranially on the head. On the back of the neck, you can do really powerful stuff coming from the back of the neck all the way to the feet, where you just do a systemic increase. But this is a clinical grade, high performance, high powered machine. Long-term cumulative benefits: increases angiogenesis, so you have more blood vessels feeding your muscles, teaches your body to heal faster, and you can use it when you go for a walk. Literally, you put it in a little backpack, or if you want a little butt bag, because those are so fashionable, right? And it just goes, and it actually improves the quality of your healing. It's a big deal. All right, so 2 people won one, but here's the real win. Okay, H-Wave is giving subscribers 45% off of a $4,000 device. Okay. That means if you decided you wanted one of these and you bought one, you would have paid for several years worth of your subscription to the box just in the savings from this. Like, it's a couple $1,000s of savings. So I'm doing my best to get you the very best stuff at the lowest prices possible. And I will just tell you, the high powered multi-waveform electrical stimulation has a history going back about 30 years. The original device that started the movement was in East Germany during the Olympics in the 80s. They would knock out with anesthesia the athletes, put a stick in their mouth so they didn't bite off their tongue, and run this kind of waveform over them. And eventually someone figured out, what if you have 2 waveforms at the same time? You don't have to knock people out for it. But since then, we've just grown this huge body of knowledge about what we can do here. And this is missing from most people's awareness. Most doctors have no idea you can do this stuff. And I'll just tell you, if you have parts of you that you just don't want to exercise, this will exercise them. If you have parts of you can't exercise, this will do it. And if you're looking to heal faster, you can. So that is a pretty powerful savings on the H-Wave. The code is in the book. It'll be in your portal online here. Would it help healing a broken bone? It'll help with blood flow and angiogenesis. It probably depends on the type of break. I am going to be using it as soon as my bone is knit enough. I'll be using it for the foot surgery that I just had. I'm going from my big toe to the muscles that I need to rehab that are around where they had the surgery. And I'll be using that when it's portable. And I used another unit in the video that I did as well. So what you're going to find is that having this versus a little, $100 TENS unit, it's just a whole different ball of wax. See if you have any other questions for you guys. And I'll just say this concludes our main conversation for the box. But as part of your membership in the Dave Asprey box, I always answer a few extra questions from members in these. And if you're in the Upgrade Collective, I do this every 2 weeks where I answer questions and talk about how to think through a problem. And I teach you guys all the stuff that I know. So if you're not in the Upgrade Collective, but you're a box subscriber, check out ourupgradecollective.com. And we probably should have some kind of a code for box subscribers who want to get in on the Upgrade Collective, but we may not. All right. How did I find out about, or when do we find out about golden ticket winners? All right. Team Dave, can you guys, I think that when you get your box, it's in there. Or, you announce in a few weeks with random drawings. There you go. Peter has that. And so we contact the winners directly then. All right, there you go. Do you get a box subscriber discount to the collective? I think if you're a box subscriber and not a member of the collective, I'm sure we can figure something out. Just haven't ever thought of that until right now. So we'll figure it out. All right. Are we doing more virtual conferences or just the in-person ones in Southern California?